120 decibels. "I don't think it's quite as straightforward as that, dear," she said, a muscle flashing in her cheek. "If we simply ask, do any of them want to run Mulberry House, then—" She gave a theatrical, damning shrug. "Then the wrong one might end up with it. I mean, what if Charlie put himself forward, for instance? What would we say then? Oh, sorry, darling. When we asked if anyone wanted the house, we were rather hoping it wouldn't be you." Eddie felt hurt on behalf of his youngest son. "Why shouldn't Charlie run the business?" he asked. "Out of the three, he's the one who could do with a lucky break. And you never know, it could be the making of him. A bit of responsibility might be just what he needs." Lillian pushed out her lips in a small, tense moo of disagreement. "He's too much of a risk," she stated. "And we both know he's hopeless with money. No, Eddie. Handing over the house to Charlie would be an unmitigated disaster. We might as well give it to a complete stranger. Or burn the place down." Eddie sighed. There was no mistaking the firm set of his wife's jaw, the flint in her eyes. 37-year-old Charlie wasn't a bad lad. He didn't have a malicious bone in his body. He was just one of those kids who'd always drifted along haplessly without any signs of a master plan whirring elsewhere in his brain. Nothing wrong with that, though, was there? Eddie could relate to such an approach, having plodded aimlessly through life himself. And OK, so Charlie might have been unlucky with work in the past. And money, and women, come to that, but he was still a good boy. "Who did you have in mind, then?" he asked after a moment, not having the energy to wade into an argument right now. He'd learned to pick his battles with care. "Hugh?" Hugh was their eldest son, the undisputed leader of the pack. At the age of 42, he was a strapping man, just on the edge of portly, who had worked solidly all his life and now had the job and family life to show for it. Hugh had gone to university, Oxford, no less. My word, that had been a proud day, where he'd studied hard, joined the rugby team, and met his wife, Alicia, with whom he'd been ever since. 20 years down the line, they had 3 children and lived very comfortably in a large Victorian house in Axminster, 5 or so miles away. He worked as a manager of a mid-sized engineering works, and they enjoyed holidays abroad every summer, as well as piano lessons for the children and an Ocado delivery pass. Lillian wrinkled her nose. "But would Hugh and Alicia want the house?" she wondered. "Do they need the business? I can't see either of them giving up their jobs in a hurry, can you? Hugh's just been promoted, after all, and Alicia, well, she's doing her own thing, isn't she?" There was an edge to her voice. Alicia taught biology in a nearby secondary school and had recently been made head of department. She was so thoroughly nice and well-mannered that she'd never once flaunted her first-class degree or career successes at anyone, but Lillian was still braced for it, all these years on, and stored a few digs about working mothers up her sleeve, just in case. There was such a thing as being too clever, whatever Eddie said. "They might want to buy it as a family home," Eddie suggested, though privately he had his doubts. Hugh and Alicia were happy where they were, he knew that. Their road was a safe, friendly one, where the children played out on bikes and scooters, and the neighbours organised street parties with homemade bunting and cupcakes. He wasn't sure they'd want the upheaval of leaving that behind. Of course, Hugh had grown up here in Mulberry House, as had Charlie and David, back when the building was the Jones family home. The place had rung with boys' shouts and wrestling matches, the thwack of cricket balls on willow, the swishing of shuttlecocks over the washing line, and, later, the thump of music and slammed bedroom doors during the teenage years. When the boys had all finally left home, it had taken Charlie a number of aborted attempts, Lillian and Eddie had felt the space was too large for the two of them, and began letting out the rooms to paying guests. 15 years on, Mulberry House was a 3-star B&B and was booked up for months in advance. A charming, family-run establishment with good facilities, as the AA put it back in 2003.